Alright, so Dragon Ball Super Manga Chapter 69 just came today. It's called The Evolution of Planet Cereal. We're gonna get some backstory in this chapter. Just a heads up, there's gonna be a couple of spoilers in here. Nothing too major, but there's gonna be a few spoilers. We're gonna be talking about some very interesting upcoming topics. So it looks like Planet Cereal is where granola is from, which we've seen in the previous couple of chapters. It starts out with a little bit of dialogue between him and a merchant. In a store, he's getting some he's kind of asking him how the old man is, so it looks like granola actually lives with someone. We also get some backstory on the Shigarians, which looks like just the race of the merchant that was there. It looks like they kind of lost their home planet, so they're paying for this planet. It looks like they're in their own little bubble, their own little civilization area, and they're paying for the planet. Fast forward to, and we see Granola. He kind of like reflects, and we see automatically that he has some grudges against the Saiyans because it seemed that they're the ones who took out his planet. Perfect segue into Beerus and Vegeta. Beerus is kind of asking Vegeta about how many planets the Saiyans have destroyed. And Vegeta's just saying, like, a lot. My dad kind of built his reign upon a bunch of lost lives. So essentially, what Vegeta's saying is that you can't blame Frieza for all the bad that the Saiyans have done. A lot of it's kind of on them. And then Beerus is like, okay, so they were destined to be wiped out, right? And Vegeta's like, I'd say so. And he's like, well, what does this have to do with me learning a new technique? And then Beerus is like, plenty. And he just starts kind of wailing on Vegeta. He like grabs him by the face, pummels him. He keeps mentioning how self-centered he is and about the crimes, and doesn't he feel guilty for all the crimes that the Saiyans have committed. Vegeta goes Super Saiyan Blue in self-defense, but to really no avail. Now, it's kind of interesting to see how powerful Beerus is, because I'm sure many of us have kind of wondered how powerful he is. I think it's safe to say he's around the ballpark of Master Ultra Instinct Goku. That's one I want to see a little bit more. In the last chapter, we saw him versus Whis, but if we saw him versus Beerus, I'm convinced it would be a pretty close fight. But I feel like they keep amping Beerus and keep. It looks like they don't want him to be an obstacle that Goku and Vegeta pass so easily, and I understand that. It's just that when we had Super Saiyan God or Super Saiyan Red, however you want to call it, versus Beerus, that. When we first saw that fight in the Battle of Gods movie, that seemed to be a pretty close fight. And we're like, oh shoot, Goku's just unleashed a new level. And then when they go blue, when they go Super Saiyan on top of that, you would expect the gap to close dramatically. But if anything, it seems like it got bigger, which is something I'm not a huge fan of. But it is what it is. I'm kind of happy to see that they're getting much stronger. And this is kind of foreshadowing and just the fact that it's stated that they're growing, even though we don't see it as much in regards to Beerus. It's kind of foreshadowing the fact that one day they might be able to surpass him. They keep fighting, Vegeta keeps getting pummeled, and Beerus has Hakai, or Destruction, and he uses the technique against Vegeta. He doesn't obviously kill him, but he knocks him out of his Super Saiyan Blue state. So it looks like that's what Vegeta's going to be trying to master in these upcoming chapters. Goku has tried it and he's failed, but it seems that Vegeta has direct training from the God of Destruction, and he might actually be able to do it. I feel like it's kind of interesting here to see that Vegeta's getting mostly trained by Beerus, and Goku's getting mostly trained by Whis. It kind of makes sense because they have different fighting styles, and they kind of, Whis and Beerus are kind of like their parallels in a sense, because you have Beerus, who's a little bit more rough, and as you see a little bit later, he's and he also says he's always thinking about destruction, you know what I mean? He's kind of a little darker, like Vegeta, and then you have Whis, who's much more of a calm soul, which means that, which is much more like Goku, which is why Ultra Instinct suits him more, whereas Vegeta has his own path he's gonna take. I don't really think Vegeta's gonna unlock Mastered Ultra Instinct. I'm pretty sure that they've been kind of keen on making them go their separate paths. For example, when we were in the Tournament of Power, we had Goku Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken and Vegeta Blue Evolution, right? You had those two parallels, and honestly, Blue Evolution was probably better because Kaioken obviously puts a strain on your body. Even though Goku has learned to overcome a lot of those obstacles, it still puts a strain on your body, whereas Blue Evolution is is a complete ascension of the Super Saiyan state, of the Super Saiyan Blue state. So I don't know. I'm just very interested to see what we have in the future for Vegeta. We got some side characters going on. We see the OG-73. The part I find personally more interesting is when Granola gets home. We see that the old man that he's living with is in fact a Namekian, and they kind of discuss what's going on, and they talk a little bit about their backstory and how Granola mentions how he kind of wants power so he can change the way of living, for the Shigarians to avenge himself, and he says that he wants power. the topic of the Dragon Ball kind of comes up, and it seems that he already has one. And they mentioned that there's another ball just like it. So it looks like these Dragon Balls, you only need 2, and they're much smaller. So as we see later on Planet Namek, again, perfect segue here. We have the Namekian leader kind of teaching his young little Dendes about the Dragon Balls, and you automatically see there that that one is like the size of his head, whereas the other one is the size of like a nickel. And he mentions that the Dragon Balls vary in size depending on the one who created them. So it looks like the more powerful they are, the larger they get, right? So, for example, we have the one on Planet Cereal, which is like the size of a nickel. I can't imagine that's going to be too powerful. Then we have the ones on Namek, which are bigger than the ones on Earth, which is why Purunga is stronger than Shenron. You know what I mean? That makes a lot of sense. It's not really been clarified up to this point. I love the backstory. We also get a little bit more backstory. We get some mention of the fact that Namekians could be in different planets, and that Dragon Balls could be in different planets as a result. And we kind of see the two backstories kind of merging between the Namekian leaders and the Namekian that's living with Granola on Planet Cereal. You kind of so the Namekian that's there in Planet Cereal kind of mentions that a couple dozen Namekians used to live there, but now it's just him, assuming that they were wiped out or just killed of old age or died of old age. I'm assuming they're probably wiped out due to this horrifying backstory, due to some of these horrifying backstories in the past. And then we see in the news that somebody actually managed to get the second Dragon Ball. So obviously Granola being Granola, he just swipes that and summons the dragon as soon as he can. And when the dragon comes out, the dragon's not any smaller, but it is completely different. It's not Shenron. It's a weird lizard-looking flap thing. Apparently, you don't need to speak a different language to get this one. Apparently, you don't need to speak another language to talk to this dragon. Granola wishes to be the most powerful warrior in the universe. Now, this is a very interesting ending to a chapter. First of all, we see new Dragon Balls. Like, who would have thought there was going to be like way more Dragon Balls? Like, we already have the Dragon Balls. We have the Namekian Dragon Balls. We have the Super Dragon Balls. If you want to count like GT, we got like the Black Star and Red Star Dragon Balls. We have the Planet Cereal Dragon Balls. So there's a lot of interesting kind of things going on here. I personally don't think that this Shenron or this dragon is going to be able to grant his wish, because think about it. You have characters who are as powerful as gods now in this universe, and they said that the size of the Dragon Balls is dependent on the person who created them. So obviously this one's much smaller, so implying that it's much weaker than the Namekian's Dragon Balls, much weaker than the Shenron Dragon Balls, than the Earth Dragon Balls. So keeping this into consideration, I don't necessarily think this is going to work. If it does, good for him, makes it a lot easier, and it's just so convenient, I guess. But I would assume that these wouldn't work, and he would have to go to another planet to acquire bigger Dragon Balls. Because that seems like a wish for like Super Shenron or something, to be the most powerful warrior in the universe. There's a lot of very, very powerful people out there, including Broly, Goku, Vegeta. But this is just making him the most powerful warrior in the universe at that point in time. Obviously, other people will be able to surpass him eventually. If he said, I want to be the strongest that ever lived, then they might be in for a big one. But I don't know. I just wanted to cover my thoughts on this chapter. If you guys like more videos like this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.